This guy is going to take pre-workout.
The Krusty Krab, yeah, pizza.
Move those chains. Move those chains.
I used to kick field goals for my Pee Wee football team. I used to drill 32-yarders. Welcome back to Morning Wood. My name is Jason. I'm here with Matt. As always, we are back. Another week of football has passed and another week of football is ahead. Let's dive right into the news. Top of the morning, right before we started recording this, Davante Adams is a Jet. The Raiders get a conditional third-round pick. It depends on how Davante Adams plays, whether that's a third-round pick or a second-round pick. Wild news after a loss on Monday Night Football. Last week, fired head coach Robert Saleh. Now they get Davante Adams. They just lost a football game. What is going on with the Jets?
There's a lot of news going around there lately in the last couple of weeks, but that is a huge pickup, I will say.
Yeah. Davante Adams, Garrett Wilson,
that wide
Breece
receiver
Hall
room is insane.
I mean, they got weapons. They just got to put it all together somehow.
Yeah.
They got to make field goals.
Maybe they could trade for a coach.
Maybe. They need something. I don't know what it is, but they need something. Maybe Davante Adams is the answer. We'll figure that out.
Could be.
I mean, Mike Williams had like 3 drops yesterday. So,
not great.
Moving on, Cooper Kupp, who had a high ankle sprain and has missed the last couple weeks, had a positive workout on Monday. Returning to the field this week might be possible.
Uh-oh.
Great news if you're a Rams fan. You need something. You need something.
That is good news, though.
Ricky Pearsall, the 49ers rookie wide receiver out of Florida, practiced on Monday for the first time after getting shot in the chest 44 days ago. Kind of crazy that he's already back. Good news for the rookie wide receiver out of Florida. Maybe they could use him. They need some kind of, something, something.
Big win on Thursday.
So. Big win. Nick Sirianni was chirping at some Eagles fans at the end of the game after the win against the Browns. That guy is stupid. I actually hate Nick Sirianni now. The crowd was chanting "Fire Sirianni" at halftime. He comes back to the crowd. What'd you say?
Dude.
Like, what are you doing, bro? Just you're an idiot. Go to the locker room. You just beat the Browns by 4.
You're an idiot.
Dude, I actually hate that guy now.
We'll talk about that more in a little bit.
And maybe some of the worst news of the weekend, Aiden Hutchinson suffered a season-ending fractured tibia and fibula against the Cowboys on Sunday. Gruesome injury if you were watching that game. Hate that for Hutch. One of the best tackles or D tackles in the league.
Yeah.
Or DN, sorry. But just horrible news for the Lions. I mean, they blew out the Cowboys, but it kind of felt like a loss losing Aiden Hutchinson.
Yeah, they gotta try and fill that hole quickly. Yeah.
I don't even know who they would even try to get, but maybe Max Crosby. Maybe the Raiders are sellers at this point. We'll see.
Maybe.
I mean, Tua will not play this week, but he is expected to return this season at some point, according to Mike McDaniels. The Finns kind of need it because they feel irrelevant. I feel like we haven't talked about the Dolphins in a while. They feel kind of irrelevant. Maybe Tua coming back. They did get a win, I believe. They're on a bye this week, and then they got a win last week against the Patriots. But the Dolphins need some kind of spark, something. They need something. And then Joe Flacco led the Colts to a win on Sunday, but Shane Steichen told reporters that Anthony Richardson will play on Sunday if he doesn't have any setbacks with that oblique injury this week. Kind of interesting. If you're a Colts fan, do you want Joe Flacco? Do you think Joe Flacco is the better quarterback for this season to go win football games? Who knows? Anthony Richardson, the second-year guy, hurt pretty much all last year. Do you want to get him some playing time? Do you want to win now with Flacco? What's the sitch?
Yeah, that's interesting. We'll talk about a couple of those points made in a little bit.
That is the top of the morning news. A lot of news around the NFL. I will pass it off to you for A, B.
Antonio Brown. You know the deal. It's the same thing every episode. Roll it.
Kicks him in. Antonio Brown.
Go on social media, man. This is about us, nobody else, man.
The Antonio Brown tweet of the day for me is going to be when he tweeted the National Flag League. CTE ESPN might actually know what they're talking about with this one because, good Lord, last night we had a game that had 22 penalties for 202 yards. That was abysmal to watch if you're a
I
fan.
thought the Chiefs were playing.
It looked like the Chiefs were playing the Chiefs. It was insane out there. I have a tweet here from Opta Stats. It says, tonight's Bills and Jets game was the first NFL game in which each team had 10-plus penalties and missed multiple field goals. Or kicks, I should say.
Shout out.
Extra points and field goals. Yeah. Since October 18th, 1987.
That's a long time ago.
That's a long time ago. Long time ago before I was even thought about. But I did see a post on this as well, continuing with Antonio Brown's tweet here because it does make a lot of sense. The number of penalties called against the offense, this was following the week 2 of the NFL season. So this was 3 weeks ago. But it says the number of penalties called against the offenses over the first 2 weeks of the season has increased every year for the last 3 years, from 183 in 2022 to 196 last year to 217 through the first 2 weeks of this season. And we are already on pace to set the record again. Not great. Not great from an NFL watching standpoint. I'm sick of seeing. It feels like every play is like, all I hear from the announcers is this one's coming back, or there's a flag on the play, or just the yellow overlay pops up on the bottom of the screen.
Every big play that I see is like illegal formation, illegal shift, holding. It's like, okay, bro.
We talked about this at I think our first
kill
episode.
My parlays. Thanks.
Dude, just kill my parlays. We talked about this on the first episode, like the amount of new penalties or stuff that they were trying to tackle and crack down on and really implement. Like, I get it, but it is extremely annoying. It's very annoying. But that's my tweet of the day. Antonio Brown and
he's locked into that.
CT ESPN knows what he's talking about. This was actually a W tweet. Again, follow Antonio. He's on a generational run. It's not stopping. Let's talk about football. Let's recap the week 6 of the NFL. Not a crazy weekend.
Big week.
Couple blowouts, couple good divisional games.
Yeah, Sunday was kind of underwhelming, but
it was. It wasn't the. It was definitely was. This was maybe the worst weekend we've had for NFL, but it did start off with a beatdown on Thursday night. The 49ers dominated the Seahawks. Brock Purdy throwing for over 250 yards, 3 touchdowns. By the way, guys, I hate to break it to you all. I know it's been said the last couple of years, but this man is not a game manager. He's a game performer.
Mr. Irrelevant.
Mr. Irrelevant has proven a lot of people wrong. He's better than a lot of quarterbacks in the league. He's playing better than a lot of quarterbacks in the league. And it was a big win for the 49ers. They kind of needed it. Also big, along with in the passing game, but big games from Isaac. I think it's Granendo. Or Garendo.
Yeah, sounds
10
good.
carries, 99 yards. Doesn't matter. This man was Garendoing his ass all the way down the field.
I mean, I could run behind the 49ers offensive line. Kyle Shanahan schemed something up for me. I get 99 yards.
They are a plug-and-play running back. It just I don't know if it's like – I mean, it obviously helps when they have McCaffrey, who is he even alive? Like, does this guy getting his legs amputated?
Yeah, I haven't heard anything in a while.
Yeah, I don't know either. One of the best players in the league. Nobody knows. Nobody knew he was even hurt. Wasn't going to play, and now there's no timetable for his return. It doesn't matter because Isaac, 10 carries, 99 yards, averaging 9.9, almost 10 yards a carry. And then Jordan Mason, before he got hurt with, I think, the shoulder injury, 9 carries for 73 yards, 8.1 on the ground for both of these running backs, and over 9 a carry for one of them, over 8 a carry for the other. It is a scheme. Like, their holes are – like their scheme, I said this episodes ago, but their zone run scheme is one of the best things I've ever seen in the NFL. It's really beautiful.
I mean, Kittle's like one of the best blocking tight ends. They got Juszczyk, Juice to fill up the hole. They got a good offensive line.
Best left tackle in football.
Yeah, whoever wants to run back there is just anyone.
Yeah, they show out. They dominate the Seahawks. The Seahawks lose 3 straight after going 3-0. I'm not too worried about it overall because they did lose to Detroit in a back and forth game, which they had opportunities to win in Detroit. And like we've seen with Detroit, they are a wagon and they ain't slowing down anytime soon. And then losing to the 49ers at home does suck. In the way they lost, they did give up a lot of points, but it is the 49ers, maybe they can, split with them and win in San Francisco. You never know how that goes. It's the division. Anything can happen. But the Giants' loss at home for Seattle is really rough right now. Looking at that 3-game split, again, you played 2 good teams. I get it. Those could go either way, but losing to the Giants at home, I know the Giants have a good defense. We just got shown that too against the Bengals, holding them to 17, but that loss at home right now for Seattle isn't looking great. So they need a bounce back win big here this weekend. If they're not even on a bye, I haven't looked at the schedule. But moving on, the Bears in London.
It's a horrible game.
Horrible game, but the Bears do improve to 4-2 behind Caleb Williams.
Sorry.
No, you're good. The Jags, they're dead. They're buried in. They're dead.
Bad.
But Caleb Williams is not dead. That man is alive, throwing 4 touchdowns.
Well. Yeah.
4 touchdowns. Good completion percentage, almost 80% completion. I think he was at like 78 point something. In the last 4 games for the rookie, I know a lot of talk been on Jaden Daniels, rightfully so. He had they had a good game this weekend too, even though they lost. But the last 4 games for Williams, 7 touchdowns, only 1 interception, and he's protecting the ball. He hasn't really made a lot of mistakes. He's completing a lot of good passes, high completion percentage, good pass rating. But the question that begs to be asked is it Fugaze? They haven't really played anybody. They did beat an injured Rams team and the Panthers at home in Chicago. And Chicago, don't get me wrong, Caleb is playing good, but they have one of the best points per game defenses in the league right now. That defense is really good. Very underrated. Not a lot of known players, but they are playing really well. And then the Jags, obviously, in London. So 3 not great teams. Is it for real for the Bears? I think that they're definitely higher, even with playing those teams. I think they're definitely higher than where they should be, in my opinion. I didn't have them winning a lot of games this year. I think they already surpassed what I had them winning with a rookie quarterback. I might have been a little bit disrespectful, but we'll see how, when they start playing in division, especially in that division, we'll know what the Bears are really about. And then
when their defense can't keep them in a game and they're not playing the Jags who just give you the ball every possession, but it can Caleb Williams answer touchdown for touchdown with Jared Goff or Jalen or Jordan Love. So we'll see.
And not even just in division, but just good NFC teams.
Teams that can score and that aren't bad.
Right. Like the Jags. The Jags are bad. And I don't know what we've said this. I feel like I've said this every week. I don't know what the move is forward for the Jags. We just saw the Jets fire head coach. There's a lot of coaches on the hot seat. I know Doug Peterson is probably in question there. I don't know.
One thing play in the Canadian Football League. I think that's the next move for the Jags.
I have in my notes. I think they just stay in London forever. I mean, just stay there. They're staying there this week. They're staying there this week. They got another game in London. They might as well just keep them there.
Keep them there.
The one thing I will say, they dropped 4 touchdowns in this game. I saw a video breaking them all down. They dropped 4 touchdowns in this game. Good.
Trevor Lawrence is getting a lot of heat, which he should because he's not playing well, but the rest of the team is not helping him out in any way.
No, the offensive line sucks. Yeah. Their running game is 1 week it's great, 1 week it's not, and 4 dropped great passes, dropped touchdowns. That's unacceptable. Yeah. But unfortunate.
Baker Mayfield throws 4 touchdowns, and the Bucks put up a 50 spot on the Saints. Spencer Rattler, a bright spot, I guess, for the Saints, like a light in the tunnel. Spencer Rattler didn't actually look too bad for just coming in, starting for the injured Derek Carr. He had 243 yards, a touchdown. He did throw 2 interceptions, but I mean, that feels like a Derek Carr stat line. I don't know if Derek Carr could do any better than that.
The touchdown drive he had was good.
Yeah, they were actually winning by 3 points at halftime, and then Baker just comes out in the second half, and they just light it up a little bit. But, I mean, definitely better showing from the Saints than I expected. If the Saints defense kind of shows up a little bit, they're in that game. I know they had a fumble return for a touchdown. The Bucks had a defensive touchdown, but they still scored 44 points on the Saints.
They had 3 interceptions, too.
Yeah,
against
the
Baker.
Bucks did. Yeah, Baker had 3 interceptions. Yeah,
and that's not even just that the defense was playing good. They had 3 interceptions, didn't really do anything off it, and still gave up 51 points.
Right, that's crazy.
That's not good at all.
And then the Commanders come to town and get their I mean, they lost. They played a really good game. I was going to say they got smashed, but they didn't. They were in that game up until the last drive.
Yeah,
But
this was a great game.
Lamar doesn't lose to rookies or the NFC. He threw for 323 and a touchdown. Derrick Henry had 132 on the ground, 2 touchdowns. Ravens have won 4 straight. I'm happy. That's a good thing. Commanders still played well in this game. Like I said, the Ravens don't let you run the ball. Commanders only had 52 rushing yards total. That is just not a recipe for success against the Ravens. You got to figure out how to run the football against this defense. No one really has yet. I think we're giving up less than 60 rushing yards per game. The Ravens defense did enough in the second half through the air, held the Commanders to 2 field goals and a punt. Ravens hold on in the fourth quarter, which is good news for the Ravens fans.
Yeah, this was definitely the best. Obviously, our matchup of the week, which turned out to be a really good game, but this was definitely the best 1:00 game on. I watched this whole thing. I will say, watching both of these quarterbacks was awesome. Just as a fan, like watching them both, like your guys' offense is maybe the best in the NFL right now. It's up there. Like you guys are really good.
Yeah,
the passing game.
Lions are up there too.
Oh, the Lions, yeah. I mean, there's other like the Bucks. There's a lot of good offenses out there, but you guys just as a complete team, like you guys, I feel like if needed,
Lamar's
can throw the ball.
He's spinning that thing.
Yeah, if needed, you guys can throw the ball. Obviously, we know what Derrick Henry can do on the ground. He's not missed a step at all in his 20th season in the NFL. Feels like, but I will say the Commanders didn't come out and just get blown out by a better team. They hung in there. They played well. I even in a loss, even in their losses, it feels like they have so much like hope and up on the rise for the organization. So great game overall. I had a lot of fun watching that. Moving on, the Packers, go Pack, go! Proving me wrong again. The Packers are 4-2 now. They improved to 4-2. That's needed in that vaunted division right now to keep up with the Lions and the Vikings, even to match the Bears at this point. I know the Bears aren't playing great competition, but they're winning. So the Packers do need a win, and they get one coming off of Love throwing 4 touchdowns, another quarterback throwing 4 touchdowns, over 250 yards. He did have an interception, but regardless, threw 4 touchdowns, looked really good in the pocket. It didn't even look like his ankles bothered him at all. I'm starting to believe in the cheeseheads here, Jason. I'm believing.
Turning a new leaf.
I am. I've bet it. I've picked against them multiple times now. They've proved me wrong. I'm probably not going to make that mistake.
Our glorious king.
Our glorious king.
He's leading us to victory.
Jordan Love, our glorious king. He's actually playing well. The defense, however, is actually what's made me, which has turned a new leaf for me. The most turnovers in the NFL was 17, and that's a +9 differential to their offense. They don't give the ball up, and they turn the ball over. That's a good recipe for success. They have a good quarterback. They have a good coach. I like their play calling. The one thing I noticed in this game was offensive line. They controlled the line of scrimmage in this game a lot, which was very important. And keeping Kyler from explosive plays, that's kind of the MO for him is if you contain him in the pocket, it's like Allen, it's like Lamar. Yeah. If you can keep these guys in the pocket and escape the rollout to the right big play, you usually have a good chance against these guys. But overall, the Cardinals, I don't really know what to make of them. They're not great, but they're not bad. They give teams fits some weeks. Sometimes they get blown out, I guess. Yeah. I don't know. They're kind of a weird team. But
it's October. Kyler's been in the lab on COD. He's getting ready.
It's that season. I mean, he's about to be Prestige 5 here shortly. Yeah. So, I don't know. I don't know what to make of them. But great win for the Packers. They improved. They need to keep going. That division is a fun watch right now, and it seems like no one's going to lose.
Both 5-0 teams play again this week. It's like kind of forgetting about the Chiefs and the Vikings, but kind of not forgetting about them. But moving on, something about Flacco that I miss. The Colts scored 10 points in the fourth quarter to beat the Titans. Joe Flacco leads an 11-play touchdown drive in the fourth quarter to take the lead, and the Colts win on the road in Tennessee. Anthony Richardson is supposed to start this week against the Dolphins, like I said in the news this morning. I don't know how I feel about that. I feel like if you're winning with a quarterback, you just keep it going. But I don't know. I don't know how the Colts are feeling. Looks like AR is going to play in place of Joe Flacco this week. So, I don't know.
It's interesting because we're in the same boat as them. We have a quarterback that's winning. In my opinion, we have a better quarterback on the bench. But we are winning games, so it's like, what do? We're 4-3. So, or what are we? 4-3, I think. I don't even know.
We're 4-2, I believe.
Us? Are we 4-2?
There's only 6 weeks.
Wow,
so far.
We're 4-2. That's crazy. Anyway, we're in the same boat as them, so I don't really know how it works. I don't really know how Colts fans are feeling about it. I mean, something about Joe Flacco that I missed.
Pocket passer.
I love Joe. Joe's awesome. Like, every time I see an interview with him,
I like Joe Flacco more now than I ever did.
Right, because he's not your quarterback. So,
I mean, yeah. Other than that playoff run, obviously.
Hey, he got you guys a ring.
Turn up, Joe.
Not a lot. Joe Flacco. Anyway, moving on. We'll see what the Colts do with their quarterback. Who knows? But in shocking news around the league, the Browns are still the Cleveland Browns. They will always be the Browns.
1-5, man.
They will always be the Browns. I think we've come to this conclusion. I think you said this, but anybody that puts that jersey on at quarterback, I don't care who it is. Baker had a decent run in the playoffs. Joe Flacco had a good run, but like, if you are on a Browns team, like, you're just the Browns. Like, you might win a playoff game maybe once in 20 years, but they're just the Browns. They're going to be the Browns. They will always be the Browns, and they will forever be the Browns. I don't really have too much to even say about this game other than that Deshaun Watson almost costed me money in a bet. All I needed to do was throw one damn touchdown. He did it late in the fourth quarter. 4 quarters, throw one touchdown. This guy's throwing 5, 4. Just throw one. He threw it. It's fine. But on the flip side, I need to talk about the Philadelphia Eagles really quick. Philly, let's calm down, okay? Everybody from the top of the organization to the players needs to calm down. First off, with their coach, you touched on this in the top of the morning news. What is this man doing? This is a grown man at coach.
Get Jason Kelsey the head coaching job in Philly.
Like, could you imagine Andy Reid going to the side of the field and yelling?
Or any coach.
Coach ever. Like, you're supposed to be the leader of men.
Even if a player does it, it's kind of weird. But, like, your head coach is talking to the fans. Like, what are we doing?
This isn't the Hurricanes in the 1980s, okay? You need to relax, buddy. Like, this is crazy.
And it's like Philly fans he's like talking to, which is insane.
Insane behavior. These guys are paying like middle class work collar money to go watch you idiots win by 4. You beat the Browns by 4 points at home. You guys don't even look good. You haven't looked good since week 1 of the NFL when you were in freaking, where were they? Brazil? Like,
this is Brazil.
Like, I don't know what's happening. Their coach is yelling, a grown man, a leader of men. Hey, like the wise words from Julius in Remember the Titans. Attitude reflects leadership, Captain. And that's leadership, and that's reflecting what the team is. They have no control over it over there in Philly. They're reflecting just like the fans are. I don't even know what's happening. But on the positive side for the Eagles is AJ Brown is back, baby. 6 receptions.
It's a good thing they were both back because they would have lost this game.
They would have lost for sure. 6 receptions, 116 yards. Both him and Devontae Smith come back and catch 2 touchdowns, 1 each in the end zone. That's huge for the Eagles to get them back. But yeah, the noise in Philly is loud. You can hear it from here. I live in Georgia, and you can hear it.
If you're on any sports team in Philly, like if you guys are playing bad, you're gonna hear about it from the fans.
Apparently,
that's just a part of being in Philly. Like, you're gonna hear about it.
Yeah, their head coach. I'm not even that big of a Sirianni fan anymore. Like, we said this weeks ago. Like, what does he do? He doesn't call plays on offense. He's more of an offensive guy.
Those fans probably had Eagles -8. That's probably why they were pissed off. Yeah, like, what the hell are you doing?
They're playing the Browns at home. They won by 4, and their coach is out there yelling at the paying fans. Crazy.
He's yapping at the fans.
What is happening? I would like to know some Eagle fan opinions. I got to talk to Mook or something. Like, what's happening? But
they all won them out, I think.
Oh, yeah. I wouldn't doubt it. But moving on, my Steelers play, I think, the Raiders.
Hey, baby. Good win.
Hey, Pittsburgh.
Good win.
Hey, bring on, guys.
Had a baby.
We beat the Raiders, I think. I don't even know who we played. We played the Devontae list, Gardner Minshew list, half of Max Crosby-ish.
Had a baby.
Raiders, and we won on the road. I will say Justin Fields, again, continues to make plays on his feet. You know, didn't throw a touchdown, but he ran 2 in. We did a good drives. Najee Harris was, in my opinion, the highlight of this game. He played great. He had some big runs. He had one run where it seemed like he broke about 15 tackles. I had to rub my eyes. It looked like 24 for the Seahawks back. I was like, oh my gosh, is that Lynch out there?
Ashton Genty?
Is that Ashton Genty? Big day for Najee. As far as the eye test is concerned, it was good to see him have a good game. And T.J. Watt didn't have a sack in this game. Their right tackle, I believe, is a rookie.
Did he not have a strip sack?
He didn't have a.
Or he's forced a fumble.
He didn't have a strip sack. Get this stat. This is crazy. They ran the ball only 2 times to his side, and 2 times was a fumble punch out on the goal line, and then a fumble punch out like on their own 30. Like even
2 times too many.
2 times too many to TJ Watt side. Again, their right tackle, I believe, is a rookie. He had a good day against TJ. Probably got away with some holding. That's usual when TJ doesn't have a sack game, but still impactful in the run game. Defense played good. They had interceptions. They played how they should have against Aiden. What is this dude's name? Their quarterback. I don't even remember. Aiden O'Connell. Like, we get bailed out by who we play in the regular season. That's why we have winning records in the regular season. We played a emotionless Kirk Cousins. Week 2, Bo Nix. We're a great defense, so we should have beat them. And we play Aiden O'Connell.
Half of Justin Herbert. Did you play back?
We played Justin Herbert for a half of football. He should have thrown 2 touchdowns in that game. He was lighting that shit up. So I don't know what to think of us. I mean, it was a good win, I guess. We should have won that game. That's why I picked us. I mean, yay.
I picked you guys too.
That's smart.
Yeah. Pick against the Raiders.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. We won. That's good, I guess. Yay.
It's hard to win in this league.
Hey, like Nick Sirianni said, it's hard. It's tough winning this
Just
league.
excited about the win. What were you talking about with the fans? Just excited about the win.
Yeah, here's my 3 kids. Don't ask me stupid questions about me looking like an absolute clown on TV. Here's my kids.
He's a dumbass. All right. The Falcons get a big win. They run all over the Panthers. Bijan Robinson, of course, the week I don't bet on him, has a pair of rushing touchdowns, 95 yards on the ground. Algier runs in 1 touchdown as well. Andy Dalton throws 2 picks. The Panthers are back to being a bottom 3 NFL football team. I personally don't think I saw a snap of this game, but
I did not see one snap.
The Falcons win against the Panthers, and I guess not a big division matchup, but a division matchup nonetheless. And then the Lions, they put a beat down on the Dallas Cowboys, America's team. The Lions are an absolute wagon of a football team. The Cowboys, interesting stat here. The Cowboys have allowed 167 points in their last 4 home games.
I think they haven't won at home this year, right? They
167 points in 4 home games. I don't like quick math. What is that? 40 points a game?
That's a game. Over 40 a game.
Over 40 a game at home.
Like 42?
Feels like the same old story with the Cowboys. This is our year at the beginning of the year. Head-ass team. This is our year. Every year they can't figure it out. This is early for the Cowboys. Usually they're like, hey, 4-2 around this point.
Yeah.
4-3. And then they make the playoffs and then get bounced in the first round. But it looks like, I mean, I don't know. Commanders, Eagles are there. Are they going to miss the playoffs?
Probably. I mean, highest paid player in NFL history, by the way. NFL history.
They do have a lot of injuries on that defense, but I mean, you scored 9 points, so it's not like you were going to win regardless if your defense played well.
Yeah, I saw some things on TikTok and Twitter, and people were saying, "Oh, I didn't know Dak played defense," but he all scored 9 points.
Yeah.
What do you mean defense? Sometimes your best defense is your offense.
And he
score some points.
What? 2? Like, I know he had at least 1 red zone pick. Might have been 2.
The 1 red zone pick when he was throwing it to CD was horrible. It was so bad. It was so bad. He did the same thing against us the week before.
Yeah.
I get it. I know him and CD have been going back and forth. He's trying to get him the ball. That's fine. You should get your playmakers the ball. But he's highest paid player in NFL history. There's no way that locker room is like, oh, yeah, this is great.
They don't have a running game either. It's hard to win. Like the Commanders couldn't run against the Ravens. When you can't run the football,
Zeke looks bad, man.
Hard.
Zeke looks really bad. Like, I know he's been on a down slope, but I think he's like done. Like, he does not look like he got paid, and that's it. Like, that's it. He had his rookie year in 2016, like as a great running back, like 2 years, and that was it.
Like, teams that can run the football win. If you look at this week, especially if the teams ran the football well, they probably won the football game.
Yeah. Speaking of running, like you said, I wish I could screenshot every time I've had a Bijan Robinson anytime touchdown when I have money on it, and it's never hit.
He scored 2 this week.
He scored 2 this week. You want to know why?
Just because I
didn't
no one watched the game. That's why it wasn't prime time.
I should have known. Like he was playing the Panthers. Of course, it was an anytime touchdown. Every time I put him on, they just don't use him. Anyway, let's get into the last game. Let's recap the maybe game of the week. Honestly, the Bengals ZZZZZZ. Actually, really quick, I want to put this tweet up about the NFC North because we just talked about the Lions. The NFC North is a combined 17-5. That is a 7.73 win percentage right now, 0.773 this season. It's the first time in NFL history a division has had a 0.750 or over combined winning percentages through week 6 or later in the season. First time in history. This is the best division in football easily, and maybe the best division
we've ever seen.
Yeah, this is unbelievable. But let's get into the game of the week, maybe game of the year. Bengals and a Giants sleeper.
Bengals suck.
17-3 or 17-7. I don't even remember this game.
I don't even
remember watching this game. Like I watched this game, but I don't even
turned it off at halftime, I think, because it was so boring. All I remember is Joe Burrow running for 50 yards.
Yes, I had him at two plus touchdowns.
All he had to do was him.
All he had to do was throw 2 touchdowns that game, and
not him.
I win money. He didn't throw 2 touchdowns. He ran a lot though. But Bengals win 2 of their last 3 against subpar competition. But regardless, like Hall of Fame first ballot head coach Nick Sirianni says, it's tough to win in this league, and the Bengals are winning. They've won 2 of 3. Are they back? Jason, are they?
No.
Are they?
They suck. So do the Giants.
All right. Well, that's our Week 6 recap in the books. Steelers win. Ravens win.
About the game last night, buddy.
Oh, that's right. There was a game last night.
There was a football game last night, and it included the Jets and the Bills.
Let me not jump the gun here. Let me see.
The Jets. They kind of gift wrapped that win for the Bills last night, handed it to them on a silver platter.
They kind of did.
Back-to-back missed field goals from Greg the Leg in the second half.
And not even like long field goals. Like not even.
No, I know it was windy or whatever. They had some wind, but 32-yard chip shot field goal. That's the shortest field goal missed this season so far.
I was going to say 32 yards in today's NFL is some of these kickers could kick that with their opposite leg.
I used to kick field goals for my Pee Wee football team. I used to drill 32-yarders. A touchdown was called back because of holding.
You should have seen this guy back in the day.
Dude, I towed the ball straight. I kicked it straight. I didn't soccer kick it. I hit it with my toe. That thing would go 50 yards.
Justin Tucker, who?
Yeah, and I caught touchdowns too. I was nasty.
Oh, so you were Justin Tucker and then a better Mike Williams.
I did everything. I played corner too. I was like Deion Sanders in his prime.
Travis Hunter.
Exactly. But back to the game, a TD was called back because of a holding, which led to a missed field goal. Every single play actually had a penalty on it last night. I saw the ref's face more than I actually watched football. Aaron Rodgers did have a good game, 294 yards in the air. He throws a 52-yard Hail Mary before halftime to get the Jets within 3, the momentum swing right after halftime. Breece Hall had a great game as well, 113 yards on the ground, 56 receiving yards, but the Jets lose. What I saw from the Bills team last night, look, it's hard to win in this league, but
Coach Sirianni.
This is a pretty underwhelming defense, and if Josh Allen doesn't scramble outside the pocket and throw 50-yard bombs down the field and someone's just wide open, this team is just not great, honestly. I mean, if I was a Bills fan, you're happy you just beat the Jets last night, but are you happy with how your team played? I wouldn't be. Ray Davis, I guess, was a bright spot filling in for James Cook. He had 97 or 93 yards, I believe, on the ground, leading the team in rushing and receiving.
That's
backup running
wild.
That stat feels like an issue if you're a Bills fan. You don't have receivers. Your second leading receiver was a tight end. I don't know what to think of this Bills team. They get a win. They, I believe, are in first place in the East. But this Bills team, their expectation is to go to a Super Bowl and win one. And from what I've seen so far, I don't think they should be in that conversation as like a top 5 team in the AFC ready to compete for a Super Bowl. They just don't have the playmakers to do it. Besides Josh Allen being Superman, like you see, if Josh Allen plays bad, like we saw last week, he went 9 for 30 and like 150 yards, and they lose. So I don't know what to think of this team.
Yeah. I mean, I think the Bills' success this year will ride on Josh Allen's shoulders every week.
Yeah.
Like, if they lose, it's probably going to be because he didn't throw for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. Like, he can't have a bad game. He can't have a Justin Fields or like a Caleb Williams in the first couple of games. Like, he can't have that. They don't have a team built around that.
They don't have receivers.
Let me go back to what I was saying, because that's the recap of Week 6 in the National Football League. The Steelers win, the Ravens win, and all things are good in the world.
Yay.
Let's get into our picks here. We got some spicy stuff to talk about in this one, because me and Jason are now tied.
Ball game, baby.
We're tied up
I had a good week.
at 52 and 40. He did have a banger of a week. Let's get this thing started with Thursday Night Football. We both get it right. Both choosing the San Francisco 49ers. I kind of called that one. I didn't really see them losing. What would have them been?
It was a must-win for them, and they showed up and got it done.
Yeah, they did. Talk about London. The Jags suck. I picked them for some reason. I thought they were
I also had the Jags. I thought they were going to show up, but they did not.
I thought they were going to build off that win, and they said, "You know what, Matt?
Like, we're trying to grow the game internationally, and we keep sending the Jags to London. Like, no wonder, like, no one in London likes NFL football. They keep watching the Jaguars play.
Yeah, I thought they were going to build off the win. They didn't.
And they got Jags and Patriots next week. Like, no one, like, they're going to fall asleep in the stands.
That's a terrible game. I'm telling you, the Jags need to stay in London. Just stay there.
My Ravens get a big win at home against the Commanders, 4 straight for them. You had the Commanders in this game,
Yeah,
didn't
I
you?
was wrong. I thought they were going to
Crazy.
surprise the world.
Nope.
It was close. It was close.
Good game, but they were never winning that. And then the Packers get a big win against the Cardinals. You all picked the Cardinals as well in this game, didn't you?
Yeah, I was hammered when I was picking these, I guess. So.
Yeah, Packers get a big-time win. And then we were both on the Texans against the poverty Patriots. Drake May didn't look horrible. Throws his first touchdown pass.
Did he throw like 3?
Did he?
I think he threw like 3. I think he had like a decent game.
He did have a decent game, but I don't know if I like that move from the Patriots. I think I know you want to win now, but this is not this. You're not going to go win a Super Bowl. So I think you just keep Drake May on the sideline, let him learn. Don't put him out. If he has like a bad rest of the season, it's like, oh, he's a bust. It's over. His confidence is low. Just keep him on the bench. Let Jacoby Brissett go win 4 games, get a high draft pick, and then get Drake May started next season.
I honestly,
that's not how they're rolling.
I love that the Patriots suck. So that's all.
I mean, it's fun.
Moving on, we got a divisional game. The Bucks put up 1,000,000 points on the Saints. You know, Rattler gets his start. Didn't look terrible. Didn't look great. I had Tampa Bay in this one. I think we both did, so we both win that one. And then we have the crazy coach extravaganza. I picked Philly in this one at home to take care of business. They did. Nick Sirianni wanted to tell the world about it. Did you have I'm assuming you had the Eagles as well.
Yeah. I had the
Eagles. You only missed 2 this week, so
yeah.
That's
the Colts get a big time win on the road.
Something about Flacco.
Something about Flacco that I miss. The Colts get a win. Titans kind of stink, but yeah, my sleeper team, they're really crushing it. And then Jim Harbaugh, kind of a scary thing. He left I didn't really watch a lot of this game, but he had some kind of elevation sickness, I believe, in Colorado. Went to the medical tent at some point in this game. But
it was his heart.
Yeah, he had some kind of, I think it was like elevation sickness because
not good
in Colorado. But he comes back out and they get a big time win. Chargers kind of like they had a bye last week. They beat the Broncos in a division win, but that's a good football team.
Yeah, on the road. I mean, in Denver, that's a tough defense right now. And I mean, Herbert at halftime almost had like 200 yards. He didn't finish with a lot more than that, but I think they just did enough in the first half to just coast the win. But
nice.
Yeah, hey, Harbaugh's he's had a similar incident in San Francisco, but guess what? He's 2-0 against that. So he's like that. But we both picked the Chargers. I think we're right on that one, and then we both picked the Steelers to beat whatever the remaining was left
Whatever
with the
team
Raiders.
that is.
And we were right about that. And then I took the Carolina Panthers in this one. I don't know why. I just keep betting against Kirk Cousins because I don't like him, and it's just not working out well.
It wasn't
You
even
picked
Kirk
the Falcons.
Cousins. They just ran. I mean, he had an okay game. It wasn't like he played bad, but I mean, the Panthers' rush defense. I mean, I need a bet on whoever's the running back against the Panthers for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I agree.
Then the Lions put a beat down on the Cowboys. We talked about that. We both had the Lions in that one. And then the Bengals.
I had the Bengals in this one.
I also had the Bengals.
Okay.
The Giants suck. The Bengals also suck, but it's okay.
Yeah.
And then I had the Jets last night. They should have won. They didn't. You had the Bills. They pulled the win out. And yeah, that's that.
Saving me from not going 100 to you at all, which is good. But I
yeah,
go 9-5.
40.
Jason goes 12-2.
Comeback.
That is
Watch
a
out.
crazy comeback. I'm not gonna lie.
Watch out. I'm here.
That's the NFL. That was our pick results. That's recap of the league. It was a good. It was an okay weekend.
Okay weekend. Ravens, Steelers win. Browns lose.
The Browns and the Bengals.
Bengals, I guess, win, but they still suck. Let's move on to some college football.
What a
We had
weekend.
a big weekend. We had a lot of games to pick. We will run through those right now. First game, Washington and Iowa. We both think Washington's going to go on the road and get a win in Iowa. What were we thinking?
The Hawkeye said
40-16.
The Hawkeye said, "No, sir."
I mean, when Iowa's going to score 40, they could beat anyone in the country if they score 40 points, because that defense is always going to be good.
Yeah.
Washington, they might be dead.
Yeah, that was not great.
And then Texas at Oklahoma, the Red River rivalry wasn't much of a football game. Texas rolls 34-3. We both get a W on that game.
Texas, man, wagon. Moving on, we got a Big Ten, a great game. Big Ten this weekend went bananas. Starting with this game, a great game out west at USC. Penn State go a little overtime game. They win in overtime with a field goal, back and forth. The running back, I think it was for Penn State, number 4. He's a white dude. I don't even know his name. Played great. It was a back and forth battle. This game was fun to watch. We both get the dub on that because we took number 4 Penn State.
I thought it was going to be more of a blowout. Penn State I feel like they just play to their competition. Like if they're playing whoever they're going to play Ohio State pretty well. They're going to go play USC and take them to overtime. But
yeah,
sure.
It was a great game. I mean, they should have probably won. Obviously,
USC sucks. Moving on, BYU Big 12 matchup. Number 14 BYU hosts Arizona. They get a big time win, 41-19. We were both on the Cougars in that one. BYU might be for real.
Are they for real?
They might be.
We'll talk about that in a second. Let's move on to our matchup of the week. Matchups of the week have been bangers, low key. Every time we pick one, it seems to be a great game. And college is not letting up anytime soon. Every game just feels like a banger. Number 2, Ohio State goes into the Pacific Northwest and plays Oregon. Number 3, a 1-point game down to the last play. You couldn't draw it up better. It couldn't even been scripted better in a movie. Obviously, Howard, decision making the last play. I know a lot of people are flaming him about it. We'll talk about it in a little bit, but
shout out the 12th man in Oregon, because I know Ohio State had like 5 or 6 false starts that entire game. Real home field advantage up there in Eugene, Oregon.
Yeah, no, they were rowdy. They were loud and rowdy, but we both lose on that. Honestly, we both should have been right on that. Ohio State should have, in my opinion, won that game, but they didn't.
Agreed.
Unfortunately,
if that was in Ohio State, I think they'd get that shit done.
Yeah, for sure. Next, we got a SEC matchup, big time matchup, another OT game, another close game. These games were bangers this week. This week was awesome on Saturday. If you missed it, feel bad for you. I try to tell you, cancel your plans. Number 9, Ole Miss loses to LSU at home. Number 13 in overtime. Ole Miss had
horrible.
Ole Miss had
Horrible
57
loss.
chances to win this game.
Horrible loss.
It felt like, but they unfortunately take the L. We both lose on this. On this one. I really thought Ole Miss was going to go into LSU and win this game.
They should have.
They came off of a just dominating win.
They had a missed field goal like in the first quarter. I mean, there's so many things that just went wrong for them.
Their one receiver, one of the best receivers in the country, drops a wide open touchdown, walk-in pass. Like, So many things go wrong for Ole Miss, and they still battle and should have won, but
Yeah.
unlucky.
Another Big 12 matchup. Iowa State goes into Morgantown, gets a big win, 28-16. Iowa State 6-0 in the Big 12. BYU 6-0 in the Big 12. Kind of two teams we weren't expecting to be at the top of the Big 12 through 7 weeks. But they're
Utah.
there. Iowa State should be Utah, but they suck.
Cam Rising, bitch. Moving on, last game we talked about. Kansas State goes in, takes care of business, no problem. Wasn't even sweating in a little 4-point game.
That was a crazy game.
I know, it was actually wild. Colorado, Kansas State, big prime time West Coast game. A lot of fun watching this, and yeah, we were both right on this. Kansas State does win. They took care of business late in the fourth quarter of that game. It was a battle, though. Colorado did play really well in this game. Shador,
they did.
Like Travis, they always
yeah.
do. But it moves me to 4-4. Jason to 5-3. I'm still playing catch up in college. Maybe I can make a comeback like he did in the NFL picks. I'm at 21-18, and he's at 25-14. Let's recap some of this Week 7
games.
Banana crazy games. One game that we're going to talk about, start off with, is actually none of the ones we had on the picks. It's actually the Alabama Crimson Tide. Breaking news to everybody, but you guys are not what you once were. I'm sorry to break it to you. Something about Flacco that I miss. Something about Nick Saban that I really miss. 2-1 in the last 3 games, and those 2 wins by a total of 9 points. Not great for the Crimson Tide. They had a rough game against South Carolina, coming off of a week where Ole Miss dismantled them in South Carolina. So for them to come back the very next week and struggle against South Carolina, it's not a great look for Alabama. Like, I tweeted halfway through this game, I was like, Alabama might just not make the playoff. I thought they were going to lose that game. DeBoer each week is showing me that this coaching staff has no control and no culture over this team. When they were losing to Vanderbilt and Malachi Moore was losing his mind and wouldn't come off the field, even though his head coach and defensive coordinator were saying, get off the field, that's all I needed to know. And then I should have known this. I've hinted at this, but when he came off when they had that post-game interview against Georgia, they're up by 50 points at halftime, it felt like. And they almost come back and win. They almost blow we were even shouting, we were calling for Vegas's head because we thought it was rigged. That's how bad the comeback was. He comes out smiling and giddy in the post-game interview against Georgia when they should have blew the brakes off of them in Alabama, in Tuscaloosa. I should have known at that very moment when he was happy and smiling and giddy. I was like, yeah, this team is not even close to what it's going to be or what it once was. Not a great look for Alabama right now. They need a couple convincing wins. They go on the road to Tennessee this week, number 11. Big matchup. Tennessee falls. I don't know why. They should easily be like a top 8 team. We'll talk about that in the new top 25. But Alabama, they got some stuff to prove a little bit here down the stretch.
I think their preparation definitely needs to be better. They need to take like the Alabama, like the Georgia game prep, the Georgia week prep. They need to take that sort of prep into games like Vanderbilt and South Carolina, because these teams, they're good football teams. I mean, this is SEC football. Like, they just think they're going to show up and just win because they have better talent. Like, that's not how it works in the SEC. They definitely need to lock in. It doesn't matter who you're playing on the schedule. You need to lock in your Alabama. I think that's in their heads. Like, we're an Alabama football team. We're just going to go out and win. Yeah. I know Nick Saban wouldn't have that mindset, or have the players have that mindset either.
Yeah.
But moving on to Texas, Quinn Ewers came back this week for the Red River rivalry. Did what he needed to do. Started off a little slow, but did end up throwing for 199 yards. Had a touchdown, an interception against a really good Oklahoma defense. That's the highlight of that team. Their offense was the real issue. A true freshman quarterback. They have 5 wide receivers out for injury. That's just not what you want when you're playing Texas.
No.
But the number 1 team in the country does what they do. That defense is a little underrated.
The secondary,
I would think.
They might have the best secondary out there in Texas. Like,
they're fast. They have a fast defense. Oklahoma's offense is obviously an issue, but I mean, you can't say anything bad about Texas in this win.
No, they're that's a strong football team, from top to bottom. But moving on, we got another, like I said, Big Ten. The Big Ten this week was awesome. But matchup of the week goes down to the wire. Big West Coast Big Ten. Kind of weird saying that, but Penn State. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. this is the wrong game. I'm talking about Ohio State here. I thought I was talking about Ohio State. We're talking about Penn State here. Another Big Ten game in the West Coast. I'm getting confused because there was two bangers in the West Coast. But Penn State, we got to talk about Penn State. Penn State, they had a million chances to lose this game. Their quarterback throws 3 interceptions against USC, like you said. Not a great team, a bit overrated of a defense, not to turn the ball over 3 times. But they do battle back. They do win in overtime. A huge win on the road for Franklin and the boys and the Lions, in my opinion. They needed that. They got a big one coming up in 2 weeks, though. They got Ohio State coming to town in College Station. That's a big one. But to keep up with Oregon, even Ohio State, to keep up with them, because they could split. You never know. Who knows what could happen? But just to be in the Big Ten conversation, like that was a huge win on the road. I know it was USC. They probably should have won more convincingly. But like you said, it is college football. These are good teams, and you can't take anybody lightly. And they about gave it away a couple of times there. But huge win for Penn State. Again, still undefeated. They need it. They need to keep it rolling. Ohio State coming to time.
To the Big 12, BYU 6-0, like I mentioned earlier, 3-0 in the Big 12 after a big win over Arizona, 41-19. The BYU defense forces 4 turnovers, and the offense takes advantage. I think BYU is definitely for real, at least in the Big 12. We'll see if they make it to the playoff and they play an SEC team. We'll see if they're for real when they show up. But they have a big game this week against Oklahoma State. And then 2 weeks they go to Utah, 2 teams that were previously in the top 25. Going to be big matchups for BYU. Let's see if they can get it done. If they win, I think, those 2 matchups, then we can really say that BYU is for real. They have their work cut out for them, but they have a shot to go in and win the Big 12.
Yeah. Watch out for them Cougars, boss.
Cougars, boys.
If you're on a little stroll out,
I saw a story. They have that's like a Christian Mormon school, and their quarterback is Jewish, which is like a cool story. It's like 98% of the students that go there are like Christian Mormons, and then their quarterback is a Jewish guy.
I really
cool
honestly,
story.
I need to start tuning into some BYU games more. Like they're kind of showing up big time in a lot of these games. But moving on to the Big Ten banger in the West Coast, the other one that I was talking about, our matchup of the week. Number 2 goes to number 3. What a banger. It comes down to the wire. Ohio State should have won this game, in my opinion. I know a lot of people they're really dogging Howard, Will Howard, the quarterback for Ohio State, for that last play. Listen, guys, when there's 6 seconds on the clock and you're looking for a sideline throw and the team takes that away from you, that's 3 seconds to process that. You have another 3 seconds to react about what's even happening in front of you. You have another route maybe coming over the middle, but by the time you get rid of that ball and get past the first down, the clock's over. Like there's not a lot of process of elimination here. It's bang bang, it's quick. Oregon, they played that last play great. Apparently there's some rumors about when they took the time off the clock with the timeout and all that stuff, if it was intentional or not. I don't even think it was
12-man on the field.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was kind of suspicious.
I
don't know if it was intentional or not, but if it was, it's kind of genius, honestly. Like, if you see the video of the guy creep onto the field, it's like the play's about to start, and they just have a guy walk off the sideline onto the field, which is kind of crazy. I don't know if that was intentional, but, I mean, maybe one of the smartest plays. I don't know.
I did see that there was something that the coach said that it was. Who knows? We at the end of the day, we don't know. But a lot of people were dogging, Ohio State's quarterback. I don't think I get it, but I don't think it's worthy. Like it's literally 6 seconds. You have 6 seconds to figure something out, and I feel bad.
People are saying bad time management. I'm like, you have 6 seconds in a play. I don't even know. I can't even tie my shoe in 6 seconds. Like, this guy has 6 seconds to get down the field.
On the road again, like you said, the noise, it's just unfortunate. It came down to that last play for them. It shouldn't have.
It's crazy. We have a possibility if these 2 teams play in the Big Ten. We could see this matchup 3 times this year, which is insane.
We said that about Georgia and Alabama. That Oregon and Ohio State could play. They just played. They could play each other again in the Big Ten championship and in the playoff. That would be insane.
Cool.
A little 3-part series.
I think Ohio State in a neutral site or at home.
I think they could win in Oregon. I honestly think they can win in Oregon.
I mean, they could have, but they didn't. But
I'm saying if they played again, I think it could happen.
If they played again.
I know Oregon kind of shot themselves in the foot. They had the receiver spinning. Oh, this is Ray. What is that guy's name? I can't remember him from the longest yard. But This guy spitting in people's faces. Crazy situation. But Oregon, Dylan Gabriel goes back to what he does best, protects the football, lets the receivers take care of business, getting the ball out quick, getting the ball out to these playmakers. He threw for like 300 and some yards. Then he had 2 touchdowns. He didn't turn the ball over, high completion percentage. A Dylan Gabriel game. And I will say, of the biggest takeaway, that's a huge, coming off of how he looked against Michigan State. I know they won, but he didn't look great. But on the road against the maybe best statistical defense in the country at the moment, he played really well. The Ducks offense,
that like 30-yard run that he had was like one of the best play calls in the game when he just pulled that thing out and just took off.
Yeah, no, he looked great. The offense looked great. It was impressive what they did against Ohio State's defense. But on the flip side, Oregon's defense only holding Ohio State to 10 points in that second half is mainly the reason they won this game, in my opinion. Like they played really well defensively. But like I said, Ohio State had plenty of chances to win this game.
Oregon's offensive line also protected Dylan Gabriel really well. I remember watching the game. I was like, Ohio State needs to get pressure on Gabriel. He has all the time in the world, and he just picked apart those DBs. Yeah. They had zero pressure on Dylan Gabriel. Their offensive line, give them a lot of credit because they held up against the Ohio State pass rush.
Yeah, no, matchup of the week turned out to be the matchup of the week, and I hope to see these teams again play each other. That'd be a lot of fun.
For sure. Last game we're going to cover Ole Miss against LSU. They should have won this game about 47 different times. They let LSU crawl their way back into this game and win in overtime. Ole Miss defense, I mean, Jackson Dart didn't play that well, but the defense just gave this game away. They gave up a 23-yard touchdown pass with 20 seconds left in regulation, and then gave up a 25-yard touchdown pass on their first possession in overtime. Just a bad loss for Ole Miss. Just horrible loss. They should have won this game 4 different times.
That touchdown drop from the receiver early in the game, it was like one of the first drives of the game, and like a 50-yard handoff from Dart, and he drops it. It would have been a walk-in. It would have been a walk-in, but he would beat both the safety and cornerback. Like, Ole Miss throwing bread. LSU, it is a good win for LSU, but I still think they're a bit overrated in my opinion.
Yeah. Nussmeier did not have a good game. He had probably had his worst game of the year.
He never has a good game.
Other than like the 2 passes at the end of the game. Like, I mean, it wasn't even like there were great throws. It was just blown coverage by Ole Miss. They just played bad.
Yeah.
But let's go into the new top 25 here. We had a lot of changes last week. We have some more movement this week. Texas, top 4. Texas stays at number 1. Oregon moves up, number 2 team in the nation. Penn State moves up, and then Ohio State stays in the top 4 even after a loss. I think I agree with that one as well.
Yeah, I agree with that. This is actually the first time Oregon has been this high ranked since Mariota was at the helm.
Okay.
How about that? That was a while ago. I agree with the top 4. It's still the same teams as last week. Ohio State does fall, but I don't really think they had much of they should have won that game. So I agree with this. And Texas not moving at 1. I think they should have been 1 for like the last 3-4 weeks. But I agree with the top 4. I mean, Penn State, are they the 3rd best team in the country? We're gonna find out in about 2 weeks when they play number 4. But overall, right now, you can't knock them. It's all 3 6-0 teams of the Power 4, besides Miami. So it's hard to leave them out. But moving on, we got 5 through 12. This is kind of our playoff temperature gauge, really. There's a lot of noise going on from about 10 to 16 we'll get into. But overall, what are your thoughts on this one? LSU moving up 5 spots?
Yeah, I don't know about that. I guess. And then Ole Miss dropping away out. But, I mean, Georgia, Miami, Alabama, don't move 5, 6, 7. Iowa State creeping up 2 spots. They're in the top 10 now.
Yeah.
Watch out for the Cyclones. Clemson kind of sleeping there at number 10. That's a good football team as well.
Yeah, they're back in it.
After losing week 1 to Georgia, they're all the way back.
I mean, overall, looking at this, Tennessee falling 3 spots after winning is very strange. I don't know. Did they win on Saturday or did they have a bye week? I don't remember. I think they won.
What, Tennessee? They beat Florida.
They beat Florida.
Overtime game.
Yeah, so for them to fall 3, I know there was teams that moved up, but I mean, I don't really think that they're the 11th best team in the country. I think they're like a top 8, but overall, looking at this, Iowa State, are they better than BYU in the Big 12? I don't know. I think BYU's been more convincing, in my opinion. I know that
I don't know. I think Iowa State has like strength of schedule. They have some better wins, I believe.
Yeah.
But
The
BYU,
the win they had in Morgantown was, it was a good win. But overall, I'm not too complaining about this. Besides LSU moving up 5, you barely beat Ole Miss at home. I don't know about 5 spots of a jump. That's kind of wild to me.
Yeah, they didn't play a good game, so I don't know
no.
what that's about.
That one. But
looking outside the top 12, BYU sitting there at 13. They move up a spot. I mean, all these teams move up a spot because Ole Miss just drops 9 spots.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Texas A&M still. I'm been big on Texas A&M all year. They just have that loss in Notre Dame early on in the season. That's a good football team. Boise State and Ashton Genty sitting there at 15. They're there. Their strength of schedule is not going to be anything.
No, they're not losing a game the rest of the season. If you look at Boise State's schedule, he'll probably play a half of football the rest of the year each game, and they're going to win every game. They're not going to. I don't know. Indiana,
Big Ten 6-0. They're there 3-0 in the Big Ten.
Pittsburgh 6-0.
They got Nebraska next week. Kind of a big game. We'll see how that one plays out. And then Kansas State sitting there at 17. I'm not a huge fan of this Kansas State team. They got blown out by BYU. That was their loss. And then they escaped Colorado. I don't know if I trust this team that much.
No.
We'll see how. I don't know the rest of their schedule, but if they probably play one of the 6-0 teams eventually. So we'll see how that goes. And then Ole Miss sitting there at 18, dropping 9 spots, go from 9 to 18.
That's unbelievable.
In an overtime loss.
In an overtime loss on the road against the number 13 team in the country, you fall 9 spots.
And the hardest place to play in the country.
What warranted 9 spots of a drop? I promise you, I love all these fun teams in that, anywhere from 10 to 15 range. You got, like we said, BYU, good team, Tennessee, Boise State's fun to watch. I promise you on everything, if Ole Miss played everybody up until LSU again, and I think everybody from 18 to 8, even if they played LSU in LSU again, I think they beat all of those teams. Yeah. I don't know what warranted a 9-spot drop for Ole Miss, but
I think it might be that they
have 2 losses.
2 losses. That's the only thing I can think of.
Right, but Kentucky, I talked about, their defense is good, and they should have beat Georgia and Ole Miss in a 3-week span. So Kentucky's not bad by any means, but overall, I don't know. But I will say 11-ish through 16 is just a lot of fun. Texas A&M in there, BYU in there, Boise State, Indiana, a lot of undefeateds, a lot of good teams, a lot of Big 12, Big 10 teams making their way up. Obviously, we got Boise State representing the Mountain West, but overall, I don't really mind this. I just think Ole Miss is still a top 12 team. I don't know what they're doing at 18.
I agree.
I don't know what they're doing. I get that they have 2 losses. I get that, and I know that means a lot to the committee or at least the 8 people. But I don't agree with that one. But everything else, I pretty much agree with. LSU and Ole Miss, I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
But
and looking at the back end, we got 2 service academy schools in the top 25.
Undefeated.
Army and Navy, both undefeated.
Ooh,
Watch out.
They're undefeated.
Watch out for Army and Navy, baby. Army actually looks really good.
They did. They were scored a lot of points.
Yeah.
Scored a lot of points.
Solid.
They're up and down the field. They're up and down the field.
Pitt is also 6-0 in the ACC. They're 2-0 in the conference.
Kind of a while. We don't play them. I'm kind of sad about Miami not playing them.
Yeah. I mean, there's a couple. SMU's 5-1. A couple ACC teams down here that no one really wants to go and play. Those are good football teams.
Yeah.
And then Michigan, I guess they should be.
Hey, they're hanging around.
But, I mean, they might lose to Illinois next week.
They're probably going to. They don't have a core. They're going to do run the ball.
They don't have anything going on. But that is the top 25 in college football. Let's move on to the last segment of the day. Over, under, reactions. I will pass it off to you to start us off.
Let me start with this game we were talking about just last night. We watched it and a lot of question marks. But
Yeah.
Even with now, I wrote this over under reaction literally before the news about Devontae Adams, but I kept with it. I still believe in this as a good question. Jason, do the Jets and Aaron Rodgers and that new Achilles and Devontae Adams now and that good receiver, blah blah blah, do they miss the playoffs? Last week I had it as, was Aaron Rodgers even a bust? That was my last week's overreaction question.
Yeah.
Now, do they miss the playoffs? 2-4.
I think right now, as we sit, I think it's an underreaction.
Okay.
Just because of the strength of the AFC East. Like, I don't believe in the Bills. Like, they are squeaking out wins. When they play, they should have lost last night. I know shoulda, coulda, woulda. They got the win, whatever. They lost to the Texans and they lost to the Ravens. They haven't really beat anyone else besides that. I just don't think – I think the Jets could go into Buffalo later on in the season whenever they play them and get a win. I just think it's too early to say that they're going to miss the playoffs.
Okay.
Devontae Adams could be a difference maker. We'll see.
Definitely will be.
But talking about coaches and coach firings, Nick Sirianni, should he be fired even if the Eagles make the playoffs? Because that guy is a clown.
This is a crazy statement to say, should a coach be fired after making the playoffs? But guess what? This is an underreaction because, yes.
Should be fired right now.
Can that man? Kick him to the curb.
That guy sucks.
I just don't.
He's such a dick.
I don't know of the like, if I was in a locker room, right, and I'm a grown man, and I'm playing NFL football, and the guy who's supposed to lead the troops is chirping with
Their own fans.
People stuffing their face with hot dogs and
Drunk
beer.
idiots.
Like, there's no way you're leading a team anymore to anything. Like, when they had their Super Bowl run, he seemed like a Matt LaFleur, like a Sean McVay, maybe not to that extent, but like a good young coach, offensive mind on the rise. Right, fired up, got the boys rolling. It looked like Philly was going to be a little bit of a wagon here with Hurts. They got a good receiving core, good defense. They acquire Saquon. He's chirping with the fans. Like, I don't like Sirianni. I think even regardless, if they go into the playoffs and lose again after high hopes, like, what are they going to turn into? The Cowboys or the Steelers? Like, that's not going to be fun.
No.
So, get him out.
Get him at right now.
Moving on, let's talk about the timeless man here, right? A lot of quarterbacks this year have been getting new lives with new teams. Something about Flacco that I miss. Jason.
He plays well wherever he goes.
He's just him. I love, like, even when I'm a Steeler fan my whole life, I've loved watching Flacco. Like, those games against you guys was awesome. But he's now in Indianapolis. He's throwing the most yards since he got to Cleveland, I think, in the league, like, per game. Should Joe Flacco, this is a lot of talk about this right now because, like you said in the top of the morning news, I think, Anthony Richardson, there's rumors about him coming back. If there's no setbacks, should Joe Flacco remain the starter for the Colts as of right now?
Before I answer this question, I just want to note that the Browns didn't offer Joe Flacco a contract after last season taking them to the playoffs.
He's making $4 million.
That's just another reason just to say that the Browns are just a poverty organization.
I think he's making like $4 million, $3 million, $4 million. Like, the Browns are so stupid.
But I think this is an underreaction. If I was a Colts coach, whatever, GM, I would be like, okay, we're paying a lot. They're paying a lot of veterans on that defense. They're like, we could win now with Joe Flacco. I would keep him as a starter. I think this is an underreaction. They're not going to. Anthony Richardson is most likely going to play on Sunday. And if they lose, Colts fans might be loud about it. They should say Joe Flacco should be the quarterback of this team. Anthony Richardson is still young. It's not like you're ruining his career if he plays again behind Joe Flacco, learns a little bit, gets 100% healthy. It feels like Anthony Richardson's always hurt. He's always hurt. I think Joe Flacco should be the starter.
No, I agree. Actually, believe it, like Jordan Love sat for 4 years. It feels like, for in Green Bay. And in my opinion, if you look at this division, who are they chasing? The Texans at 5-1. That's it. Everyone else sucks. The Titans suck. The Jags suck. Like, they might as well keep winning. They're in the hunt for the wild card. And I literally listened to an interview with Joe Flacco. All this team wants is to win games, get to the playoff, and see what they can do. They know they're not going to contend to a Super Bowl unless by some crazy miracle, but they know what they are. But they can still compete. They can still give teams some problems. They beat us. They beat they beat some teams. So I think you keep winning. I really do.
I agree. I think it's like it's not like the Colts are in this developmental stage.
They have good young players too. Like they got some guys that can.
Yeah, they do.
That can make plays.
But all right, moving on to my Ravens, baby. Should Derrick Henry be in the MVP conversation? Let me give you some stats here. 704 rushing yards on the season, 8 touchdowns, 119 carries. Those all lead the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, should he be in the MVP conversation? I'm trying to think of like the MVP front runners right now. Obviously, it's probably going to be like a Sam Darnold's up there, Patrick Mahomes, even though he's not even playing good. But yeah, I would say this is a bit of an underreaction. I think the 30-year-old or 30-plus-year-old running back, I've said this, his whole career, but he's like the true classic workhorse. If you ever look back at the all-time great running backs, those guys were toting the ball for 300, 400 carries a year. No problem. Like workhorses, just head, nose down. Sure, they caught passes, but they were, and there was no like 1-2 punches back then either. They were like the guy toting the rock. He's the last one. He's like the lone survivor of a dying breed, in my opinion. And yeah, I do. Watching him play, he's still running by guys. He's still running over guys. He's still stiff arming people 6 feet into the ground. He's still Derrick Henry. Like he hasn't slowed down at all. And I got to tell you, whoever allowed him to be lead blocked by your guys' fullback, whoever let Pat Ricard block for Henry. In this scheme, and with Lamar, like, yeah, I think Henry, if he keeps playing the way he's playing, I think this is an underreaction. I think he could easily be in the MVP conversation. The last running back to do it is Adrian Peterson, and that was AP. My man was come off a ACL injury, almost broke the record. It might take a lot for Henry to do it, but in conversation, yeah, he should be, for sure.
I mean, he's sniffing on pace for 2,000 yards rushing.
Yeah. And I know you guys run the ball, but that's still hard to do, man. Especially like AP did that. AP did that that was 12 years ago.
And that's what I mean. Derrick Henry doesn't play every snap either. He's like, if he's in the game, he's probably going to run the ball or play action. But like on a lot of third and longs, like Derrick Henry's not in the game.
Yeah.
And AP was like, I mean, AP was playing every snap.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, no. But moving on.
Yeah.
Let's talk some college over underreactions. We just had a big weekend for the Big Ten. Penn State goes on the road, gets a tough win. We have Oregon. We got Ohio State. Does Penn State win the Big Ten? Jason,
It's overreaction. It's the overreaction. I think they get handled by Oregon and Ohio State if they play them.
And number 3 team in the country. Right?
Penn State feels like they play to their competition. I think I mentioned that earlier. They just, I mean, USC, man, USC sucks. Come on. Got to be better. You just got to have, they don't have a statement win. I feel like Penn State doesn't have a statement win. They're like, we're going to come out here and blow these guys out because we are a top 5 team in the country. I haven't seen that yet from them.
Hey, 2 weeks. They got them
I think they beat Bowling Green by like 10. Like, come on now.
2 weeks, they got them Buckeyes coming to town.
Yeah. It's going to be a long day for them, most likely. Especially after like an Ohio State team coming off a loss. They better pray they are in that game.
Yeah.
But last one of the day. The Lions. Are they the best team in the NFL?
We got 2 5-0 teams. We got the Chiefs, the Vikings, same division with the Lions. Lions are 5-1. Are they the best team? I will say right now, as of right now, I think they can easily, obviously, compete and win against anybody in the league right now. They've proved to me that, especially offensively, they are a problem.
Yeah.
Like, they are just a mismatched nightmares everywhere. Like, they could throw it, they could run it, they could throw it with the running backs. They got good tight ends, good offensive line. Dan, he is literally single-handedly become my favorite coach in the NFL. Probably
He's the man.
I love that dude.
He's the man.
Every time I see him. Are they the best team in the NFL? I would say as of right now, I would say this is a bit of an underreaction because they are showing it's one of those three. It's the Chiefs, the Vikings, and the Lions. And of those three teams,
don't disrespect my Ravens like that, but okay.
Well, I meant just of record wise, no, you guys do look good. I would put the Ravens up there too. Yeah, obviously. I would say this is an underreaction. I would still in a neutral site game, I would still take in past experiences like a Pat Mahomes, Andy Reid quarterback combo just with experience. But as of right now, if they played, the Lions look good. They look better than they look better than
I think the Lions are better than the Vikings.
I think the eye test right now, they look better than the Vikings, they look better than the Chiefs, and they look better than the Ravens. Or even
they look like the best team right now, but I think specifically, the Chiefs are always going to be the Chiefs, and whatever happens if they played each other would happen. But just the way the Vikings have, that defense is crazy, but the Lions don't turn the ball over. They drive down the field and score touchdowns. And I just don't think Sam Darnold and that offense are going to keep up with the Lions if they play. They probably play soon, so we're going to get that matchup soon.
I can't wait for that division to start playing each other. But I will say this is an underreaction. I think they do look like – I don't know if there's a team in the league that has bought more into their coach besides the Lions. They would literally run through a wall for Campbell.
He could make me run through a wall for them. That guy is the man.
He's so good. He's such a good coach.
But that is the episode. That was a banger one. Let's go.
This is episode 15. Crazy week. Crazy week of college football. It's not letting up. We got some good matchups coming up this week, I believe. Hopefully the NFL slate is a little bit better this Sunday.
We, speaking of Detroit, Minnesota, we get that at 1 p.m. this week. I'm looking at the schedule right now.
Yeah.
We get them this week, baby.
I'm not even doing anything on Sunday then. That's all I'm doing is watching the best division in football.
And we get Chiefs 49ers.
That's a banger. Super Bowl. 2 Super Bowl rematches in the last 5 years I think they've met. That's a banger. Hopefully the San Francisco 49ers are completely healthy without McCaffrey, but just more healthy and I would like to see a good game. I don't want to see the Chiefs look bad and the 49ers look bad. Just throw the ball down the field. Look good.
The defense is going to be flying around against Mahomes. He's throwing 4 interceptions.
Okay, buddy. Okay.
Can't wait.
Yeah, so already looking at a couple of those, the slate is good. Slightly
every other game looks like it's going to suck, but it's fine.
All right, well, it's fine. That's the episode.
That is the episode. We appreciate you guys watching. Please subscribe if you're new. Like the video. Yeah. Comment something about football. We appreciate it. Just anything. I don't care what it is. Man. Just say something.
If it's not even about football, who cares? Comment something. It's October. Comment your favorite horror movie. I don't care.
Something. Comment smiley face. Whatever you want. Frowny face. You guys suck. I don't care. Whatever.
Say. Please tell me I'm an idiot and I have no idea what I'm talking about. I don't even care.
But yeah, we appreciate you guys. We will see you in 2 days to break down next week's NFL college football slate. We are deep in the thick of it in football season. We love it. We're in October. It is fall.
It's cold out. Football's on. And the
Ravens
food.
are just keep it moving. Four straight. We got the Bucks on Monday Night Football. That's a banger of a football game. Can't wait for that one. We got a doubleheader on Monday night, actually.
How about that? College slate looking good. Maybe maybe a better week of NFL.
Texas, Georgia.
That matchup of the week easily.
Texas, Georgia.
Texas, Georgia? Question mark.
Let's get out of here. We appreciate
We got head coaches yelling at fans.
Watching Nick Sirianni should be fired. We will see you on Thursday when Jason Kelsey is the new head coach of the Eagles. We will see you next time. Peace.
Bye.